I feel like everywhere I look, there's an AI generated decorated room. So I thought it would be fun to go over how do I decorate for spring, and then how did AI recommend I decorate for spring. And I think that I'm going to try to adjust the look to be a combination of the two. I typed in ChatGPT, specifically decorate for the current spring trends. So I'm going to go over how do I decorate, how do I think about it, and hopefully give you guys some inspo for a couple of areas in your home. So the fireplace, as well as a couple other areas in my front room that I have that I decorate every year or for every season. And then I will show you what it looks like at the end when it's all decorated. The first thing that I do when I decorate the fireplace is I usually put up the garland that goes around the fireplace, though I can't find it currently in my totes. So we're gonna switch gears. I'll find it eventually somewhere in all these totes that I have right in front of me. Instead, I'm going to put up the main pieces, fill in, and then after I do that, hopefully I will find the garland somewhere in all of this mess. What I like to do is typically I decorate in threes, though you'll see how I do that. There will be more than 3 items up on the fireplace, but they will be kind of grouped in threes of things. And then I always do different heights and then different colors, but staying within a certain color theme. So the first thing that I'm going to do is put my biggest item up first, and I usually like to offset it. So this is the item that is going to be my biggest item. It says choose happiness. It is a very neutral item. And then I'm going to fill in with other large items and start to add pops of color. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add this on the other side. So you can see that it's kind of that height, but it's not. I also like to angle. So I'm angling those, and then I'm going to fill in with items that are not as dark. So I have 2 of these that are the same exact thing. Put this here, and then I'm going to fill this in the back. So again, I want them to kind of match but be different. Now I'm going to add actual color and sayings here. So I'm going to fill this in with some color, and then I'm going to put this actually in the middle to tie them all in. But you can kind of see how I have done things in threes. So these 3 are grouped together, these 3 are grouped together in just a different way, and then this ties all in. Now I'm going to fill in with different artificial flowers that look very realistic. I have some tulips, and they are, I'll bring them closer so that you can see them. So they're real touch, so they look very realistic. And I'm going to put those starting here at the end. So I'm going to grab those. Again, you can see what these look like. And I'm going to fill them in right in front of here. And sometimes these open up in a way you don't want them to. And so they are pretty easy to kind of manhandle a little bit. You can twist them on here to help with that. Here are like hydrangeas that again are real touch. I have different vases throughout the house that I typically put out all year long, and I change what goes in the vase. So let me go grab that really quick, and then you'll be able to see. But I want a vase at this point that's going to provide more height, because the 2 that I have currently are smaller in height. So I need to add some height and to build. I grabbed this vase here, and these will be able to go inside, and I shouldn't have to bend them at all. But you can see that they fill the base very nicely. And I'm going to now put this at the end to give that height and additional texture and color. Now I just need something over here, and then I'm going to fill in a little bit here. Now I'm not going to fill in a lot because again, once I find the garland that goes around here, that's going to build a lot, and I don't want to make the space look too busy. So I am just going to fill in a little bit more with some flowers that again provide different texture, but they are within the same coloring. So these colors are within the same coloring, and they're going to fill in, and I'm going to put them in a taller vase. So then, not as tall as that one, but taller than this one. Okay, so I have this. I'm not a fan of how that looks. That looks weird. Also, you can see that this is not how the base came, but my children accidentally ran into this and broke it. And so I just put it back together and I put gold. That's a thing that you see with certain, I forgot what the aesthetic is called, but anyway, I'm thinking about maybe doing this dried within this. Let's see how that looks to provide some height. Let's see if that looks better. Okay, I think I like that, so I'm going to put that here, the space here, and I'm actually going to put it where, and to make it a little bit closer to this, here we go. Okay, I really like how that looks. This is the garland that I have, and you can see that I have these command strips that stay on, or hopefully you can see that I have these command strips that stay on here. So I'm going to start with right here, because I have, well actually no, I'm going to start with, I have two different things that I use to combine. So I have these, which are very poor, very poor greenery, okay? They look very fake. But the way that I use them allows me to bulk this up without it being extremely expensive. So I start with this, and I put it right here. That's the one thing I changed, and actually I'll provide you guys photos of what it looks like every year, but I change what I put up here every year, but I do not change the garland that I put around, just because they are very expensive and I like how mine look, so I don't feel the need to do more. And one of my command books actually died out on me, so I'm going to move one and put it right here, because this needs to connect right here for this to look right. Okay, so that one's now on. This one will be the same way. I have a command hook that starts all the way at the edge here, so I'm going to put it on here first. And then I'm going to, again, wrap this around here, try to make it look somewhat similar, and I'm going to connect it. This is something that you should be able to move some as well. Again, like I said, this is not very good quality, but it does not matter because it is going to be covered by the better quality garland. Okay, this garland now, I have put these flowers, I bought these flowers separately, and I put them throughout the garland to make it look nicer. So now this garland is going to start actually now that that is on there, we are going to fluff this out. And that's the thing that's so nice about this, is has a lot of fluff, so you can really, or it has a lot of volume to it. So you can really fluff it, hide things, and go from there. I'm going to take this flower off. I'm going to move this in here so that it's not, looks like it's not laying down so much. Okay, and then you can see there's a lot of like negative space here. So again, I'm just fluffing that to cover that area. Okay. And sometimes these come off and they're very easy to put back on. And so when these come off, I just find an area of like, oh, it would be really helpful to have it there, and then I put it there. So I'm going to, I think right here would be good to just add more fill in, so I'm going to do that. Okay, now I'm going to take all of these flowers off and reposition them where I want them to be. Actually going to thread this under here and then put it on the command strip, and that I think will make it look better. Okay, perfect. Now that this is all settled, I want to figure out where I want flowers and what they look like. So I'm going to take this flower off. I like how these three are. So I'm going to put this one up here. And you don't always have to, as long as they're going to stay, you do not have to actually physically put them on here, but you can. And that's the thing that's nice. This, I'm going to put this way again. I think that that will stay if I position it incorrectly. There we go. Because I want those flowers to kind of look more this way versus them hanging down the way that they were. And then I need a flower here. So this one I am actually going to adhere to one of the little, I wish I could show you guys well, but there are like little things that hook into this and allow it to stay on there. So I want one here. All right, now we have the garland on. Like I said, now you can see that that's really well filled in here. Now that we've gotten the top done of the fireplace, we're going to do the bottom part of the fireplace. And then once we have that done, we will go over what did AI do and see if that is similar or different than how I plan to decorate. I'm not going to be able to I will show you at the end what it looks like, but I'm not really going to be able to show you with you being able to see me. So let's go ahead and get started on down here. So I usually always do some sort of large vase with greenery, and then I like to do a basket or something of that nature as well, just keeping in mind of, you know, we tend to have the fire on most of the time because we like the aesthetic of it. So we have to be mindful of that when we are decorating down at the bottom. So let me go get the vase that I'm going to use and the basket. Okay, we have both items. So I have the basket and I have the vase that I'm going to use. So the basket already has a blanket in it, and I tend to like to just have the blanket out a little bit. So I'm going to just position this kind of in a diagonal way. Now I do have a actual blanket that is more spring, but I don't know if I can find it. So if I can find it, then that will go in that, like in the basket instead. But if I can't find it, that is how it's going to stay. And then I have greenery specific for this area. So I have this very large, or not very large, but it takes up space, which is nice. Because you want a larger item or greenery in a very large vase for it not to look weird. So that fits perfectly in this space, and I'm just going to put it here on the side. Okay, so you can see that's what it looks like. This greenery looks a little like it needs to stand a little bit taller. You can see that I have this bent, so you can re-bend it based off of how tall you need it to be so that it doesn't look weird in the vase. So I'm going to make it a little bit taller, so then when it goes into the vase, it stands out a little bit more. So that looks really good. And then you can see that here, I tend not to layer a lot down here just because of my very small children. That would be an issue. So you can see here, this is what it looks like. Let me see if I can actually find the correct blanket. I can't find the blanket, but I feel like this blanket looks more aesthetically pleasing for hanging out than what this one does. And this one looks more winter just because of how heavy duty it is. So I'm going to place this blanket out and on the side here. So Now that looks, you can also, to make this look even cuter, you can put a pillow that's kind of hanging out of the basket as well. So I may do that too, but I haven't decided yet. So I'm going to do some mod shots for you so that you guys can see what the whole fireplace looks like, because this right here, these flowers actually match very well to the flowers that are on the wreath that you currently cannot see. All right, so this is the final product. All right, I'm going to talk through what AI did, what versions we are going to see with AI. I actually don't want to. I thought about at first, and you even heard that at the beginning of the video, that I thought about adjusting my design to meet more what AI did. And I don't think that I want to do that, because honestly, there are already some elements with regard to what AI did and what I did that are similar, and I enjoy those elements. So for that, right, they're similar. But for the other things that AI did, it's just not the way that I like to decorate. And it is not, I really enjoy this design, so I want to keep this design the way that it is. But let's go over what did AI do. One of the things that I really liked about AI is we're going to decorate other areas in my living room, and then like I said, at the end I will show you what it all looks like. And I really enjoyed that AI really did a good job of coordinating those areas. So I gave it separate pictures, and I said decorate this area, decorate this area, decorate this area with the same terminology. And it really did a good job of making the areas look very seamless. So I was very impressed with that when it came to AI design. I think that some of the things that AI did, it's just a lot. I mean, my decorating style is a lot. I do not believe in minimalism, as you can tell when I decorate. I do not do that. However, they were on kind of a whole nother level with regard to just the sheer bulk of items in some of the design that I was like, whoa, that's a little too overwhelming. That's now giving my brain anxiety. That's not me. But I did like that it included a lot of color. I think that the design that it went with was very more Easter versus spring all year round, because I don't change my decor. Once I have decorated for spring, I keep that decor up the entire year until fall. So not the entire year, I guess, but until fall. When it's time to decorate for fall, then I will change it out. But I need this to be enough to where it can fall into summer as well. So it can be spring, it can be summer. And then I add components during the year that are easy to like take in and take out that go more into spring and summer. So for an example, these really beautiful ceramic bunnies, and I have things like wooden bees, our bee aesthetic. This is more summer decor, this is more spring decor. So I can add these things into the design very easily. Add the bunny in, let's make sure bunny doesn't fall, add the bunny in, take the bunny out, then add, a wooden bee in and take the wooden bee out. So that's how I like to decorate, because I find that that is easier to just add those elements in and take them out than to completely take everything out and redo everything for summer. That's just not something that I like to do. I have 2 small children. That's a lot of work. It's a lot of work just to decorate the sheer amount that I do, because I decorate my entire home. Every single area that has the ability to be decorated is decorated, because I absolutely love decorating. But that's a lot to do then for the different seasons. So for me, how I decorate is I do, like I said, this seamless design that can move from spring to summer. And then I decorate for fall, and then I decorate for Christmas, winter, and then once Christmas is gone, then I will take out the Christmas elements and it will just be winter. So again, I like to use a lot of elements that are able to translate through multiple seasons. The other thing that I really enjoyed about the AI designs is that I feel that the way that it decorated gives you an idea of how to pair things together. So what elements can you add that are elements that can be used all year round? Like, for example, they had baskets. Baskets are something that you can change what goes in them. So they had baskets that are filled with flowers. I thought that that was a great idea. So I think that they did provide examples of how you can take everyday elements that you already have at home and you can incorporate them. The nice thing about AI generation is you can say, okay, I have these elements already here that I know that I want. Can you fill in the rest? And it gives you an idea of what that could look like. I did like certain elements of the design, but like I said, what I found was that when I asked it just to decorate for spring, it was very Easter feeling. There was a lot of bunnies everywhere. And then when I said decorate based off of current trends, I feel like it did a better job. I thought that it was interesting that it provided a small rug in front of my fireplace, which I thought was interesting because it didn't see the rest of the room. So that rug, when you see the rest of the room, would make literally no sense. I mean, it didn't know that though, so it makes sense that it is just providing some ways in order to add warmth to the overall areas. Throughout this, you should have seen what AI actually did. Let me know, do you like the AI designs, or what aspects do you love of the AI design, and what aspects of the design that I did do you like? I think that it's fun to see how AI can design our home versus how someone who loves decorating can decorate. I'm not saying that I am an interior designer, because I'm not, so I'm not going to say like a professional or anything like that. That would be a complete lie. But someone who really enjoys decorating and has gotten a lot of compliments from people, though they may have just been saying that to make me feel good, so whatever. Anyway, you can get an idea of how do I think through decorating an area. Now that we have the fireplace done, we are going to move over to the next area within my home, in this living room area, because I have 3 main areas that I decorate in the living room. And then once all of that is decorated, I will show you what the entire room looks like and how it all goes together. And then, like I said, I will show you what it's looked like in years past, because I really enjoy, I don't look at years past, I decorate it differently, but similarly every year. It's really fun to see how things change, and then also you'll see how doing different DIY projects has really changed the way the space looks as well. Let's get over to the next area, which will be in a separate video. I figured I would do these in sections because I feel like this video is already probably quite long. The next area will be in the next video that's upcoming, so you'll be able to see that, and then you'll be able to see the area after that in another video, and then finally, in the last video, you'll be able to see how I have decorated my entire home for spring. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Let me know in the comments, do you think that it's fun to see AI versus me? Is that helpful for you to see and hear that? Or is that something that you guys are like, I'd just rather see you decorate? Whatever the case, I would love to hear your thoughts below. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I'm excited to see you in the next one. My name is Rachel. This is Lex on the Low, where we talk all things with regard to having a luxurious life, whether that be your house or your wardrobe, while sticking to a realistic budget. Bye guys.